Today I'm excited to share with you all a bunch of the new stuff that I found in Mario Kart World. And I know in past videos we've covered a lot of stuff. Today we're mainly talking about new game mechanics, driving techniques, how the items work, hidden stats, and then a bit more about the different game modes. But I do have already a video about the game modes. If you are just excited for Mario Kart World, do not watch that video. But if you are skeptical, maybe you can go watch that and it'll change your mind. Anyway, today a lot of the footage that I have is thanks to Sliver. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Sliver is a Spanish Mario Kart YouTuber, and he is really good at the game. He got to go to one of the demos where he actually tried the game himself, and we can learn a lot more from this gameplay than we can from a lot of the promotional Nintendo footage, because obviously they didn't have pro Mario Kart players playing. So today we'll be looking at a lot of the official promotional footage, as well as just one video from Sliver. I didn't want to use too much, but if you want to go see him play, then you can check out his channel. So I'm going to show you a technique that is in this game that is not in previous Mario Kart games. So watch what he does here. He just tricks off of nothing. There's no ramp. So he's actually talking in the video about how he's doing this. All you have to do is press R to hop, and if you hold R, you'll start charging the trick, and then you release R and you get a trick boost. And if you watch that again, he actually uses this technique to hop over a banana. That is so cool. And you hop way higher than usual, obviously, and you can just keep doing this on straight sections. So people have complained that Knockout Tour and Grand Prix, as you go between tracks, there's a lot of straight sections and that looks very boring. But I guess, just like Mario Kart Wii wheelies, this is what you're going to be doing on straight sections. And this doesn't have an official name. I don't know like who is going to be in charge of naming this, but so far the best I've come up with is a ground trick. That's just what I've been calling it in my head, and I don't know, is that going to be the official term? If that's the official term, then I kind of named it. But yeah, the community is ultimately going to decide on a term, probably the pro players will, but this looks like it's going to be a very important technique for when you're driving on straight sections. As a lot of you probably know, in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if you have a high mini turbo stat, it is actually faster to mini turbo back and forth, and this is called snaking. And this has existed since all the way back in much older Mario Kart games. Now, in this section of the video, Sliver actually tries snaking. He's in first place, and I'm pretty sure he's playing against computer players. And look at how slow the snaking is. Like, he plays Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. He knows how soft drifting works. He knows how to snake. And the mini turbos don't charge very fast. And because they introduced ground tricks, I'm pretty sure snaking maybe just doesn't work or isn't faster. But obviously, we're still going to need to play the game and test it ourselves to see which one is faster. But I'm curious if soft drifting is gone. Soft drifting is a technique to get mini turbos faster, and if that's gone, then honestly, like, that's way more beginner friendly and more intuitive, but it would be a little bit unfortunate for pro players, so yeah, we'll kind of see where that goes. Now, obviously, we don't know too much about ground tricking yet. We're gonna have to get the game to really see more about it, but take a look at this. That is a double trick. So he tricked on the car. So the ground trick put him high enough to trick on the car. And I haven't seen a double trick anywhere else, so I'm pretty sure this was because of the car. That is so cool. And other than that, like, when should you be ground tricking? You probably want to be charging this at all times, anytime you're on a straight line. And, you know, if you can't get it because there's like a trick coming up, and like an actual trick boost seems like it makes you way faster than the ground trick boost, so you probably want to prioritize other techniques over this. But when there's nothing else to do, you probably should just be charging your ground tricks at all times. And as you can see from the way that he's moving around these cars, you actually can steer while charging the ground trick. Maybe your steering isn't as strong, I have no clue. So maybe it's like Mario Kart wheelies. But look at this. Watch how he just rams into a chain jump. He's in first place, and he actually just lost his lead because of this. This is so interesting. Like, we could just say he messed up, but he's really trying to go fast here, and his Mario Kart 8 Deluxe genetics is telling him you have to drift around a turn. But no, you just, like, you can't turn wide enough. This turn is so wide. And so it looks like on a turn like this, to avoid getting comboed because you messed up, it seems like most of the time you'll want to be doing ground tricks instead of drifting. Now, one thing we've seen from the trailer is that you can actually trick as you go into water. And so watch this. We're getting a ground trick followed by a water trick. Like, that's really cool. So you can get more tricks than just the singular ground trick as long as you're in water. And I'm so curious if you can charge ground tricks like while doing other stuff. That would make for such complex gameplay, and honestly, I'm here for it. Anything you can do that is more and more difficult that can make you faster and faster is really cool. And I don't need this technique to be broken. I don't need you to be insanely fast because you're doing this. I just want something to do on the straight lines. I don't care if this makes you 2% faster in the end. That is fine. And then very soon after, we can see right here that he starts charging a ground trick and gets another double trick thanks to the car, and then runs into a car because of it. So yeah, like that stuff is actually risky because when you're in the air, you can't control yourself as well. And obviously you're going faster because of the trick boost. So this is something that you're really going to want to optimize. And this has me way more excited for the game in general, but also more excited for just going through a bunch of straight sections, right? Because now you have something to do. Thank you. Now, here's something that the first time I saw it, I thought this was so interesting. Watch this. He's about to enter a shortcut with 2 mushrooms. And the shortcut itself is not as it may seem. You can actually get tricks off of the shortcut. So just watch this. He gets 1, 2, 3 tricks in the shortcut. And this had me a little bit confused. Like, how are you not getting slowed down by the off-road? So obviously he uses a mushroom here and then starts tricking. Now, I'm pretty sure by the time he lands right here, yeah, he's using another mushroom. So I was confused at first, but yeah, he does use a mushroom and that's how he goes fast in the off-road. But the first time I saw this, I was actually really excited because I was thinking, like, what if you can use trick boosts to avoid getting slowed down by the off-road? And it doesn't look like that's really a thing. He's just using mushrooms here. But if you could use trick boosts to avoid off-road slowing you down, then imagine what you could do with ground tricks. That would be so exciting. Because remember, a lot of shortcuts happen on turns, and often you want to drift, but then ground tricks need you to go straight. So I'm just thinking, like, my brain is exploding with the possibilities of, like, the trade-off you have to make and when you can do what. But yeah, that shortcut is absolutely insane. And then I was watching this official Nintendo gameplay footage, and I have confirmation that trick boosts do not help you get through off-road any faster. You can see, like, Hammer Bro is not at full speed, and Peach completely caught up to him. Now, we had an interesting interaction right here. As you can see, he's charging up ground tricks and normal tricks, but then a bullet bill hits him. And okay, first of all, bullet bills don't always spin you out anymore. I don't really know how that's gonna work. Like, do they never spin you out? Maybe. But yeah, he's charging up his ground trick, and I don't see a reason why he would have stopped. Like, did the bullet bill or just bumps in general, do those stop you from charging your ground tricks? So then you'd have to avoid people, right? And that seems a lot like Mario Kart Wii wheelies, because in that game, if you get bumped during your wheelie, you lose a ton of speed. And it is so punishing and not beginner friendly at all. And I can totally see how maybe in this version, they want ground tricks to operate kind of like wheelies, but it's not so punishing if you get bumped. Maybe you just lose your charge. Maybe you don't lose a bunch of speed for it as well. And then right here, you can see he charges a ground trick into an actual trick. Like, he's holding that ground trick for longer. So by the time his tires turn blue, you can actually release it by now. It's very similar to a mini turbo. And I'm not sure if you can charge it more than blue. I actually haven't seen anyone do that. But yeah, that's just a possibility. And then you can see he waits and launches it into a trick ramp. I wonder if this is going to make you go even faster. Maybe you get a bigger or longer boost when you land. Maybe you don't, and it all cancels each other out. That is something that we'll definitely have to see once the game actually comes out, and we can do a whole bunch of experimentation with all the different mechanics. So far, this is all that I know about ground tricks, and I think this technique could become very deep, and I'm very excited to see where this goes. Now, speaking of the bullet bill not spinning you out anymore, let's talk about a bunch of changes that came to existing items, and let's talk about how a lot of the new items work. Right now, I am on the Mario Kart World wiki, and we are looking at all of the available items. So there are double item boxes in this game, there are coins, and the fast food bag on the ground. Now, I will actually explain what all of this stuff does, but let's just take a look at all the items that are available. There is a coin shell with, I guess, an image here, but not here. Thank you, Mario Wiki. We have a Kamek crystal ball. There's different food items. There's a coin box, green shell, triple green, red shells, triple reds. We have a banana, triple bananas, mushroom, triple mushrooms, golden mushroom. A lot of these are the same as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but then we get mega mushroom from Mario Kart Wii. There it is. We have feather, and then fire flower. Ice flower is new. There is the boomerang, which was in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Hammer, super horn, star, blooper. Bomb, Spiny Shell, or Blue Shell. They called it a Blue Shell in the Mario movie, so I'm fine calling it Blue Shell for the rest of my life. I don't think Spiny Shell is necessarily more correct. And then the Lightning or Shock, Bullet Bill, and the Boo, of course, randomly ending your races. And I am excited to have the Boo in this game. I do think it is really, really stupid, but it makes for some of the funniest moments in Mario Kart, and we just cannot take that away just because it lacks some competitive integrity with the fact that it steals a random person's item and can totally swing that person's race. It's dumb, but I like it. And speaking of the Boo item in Mario Kart World, Sliver threw away the red shell and kept a green shell, but then got it booed and got red shelled instantly. And this is interesting, he actually tried to ground trick to dodge the red shell, but then the red shell flew up even higher than Mario. So I guess that's not going to be a thing you can use to dodge red shells. So let's quickly talk about what a lot of these items do. Now let's start with the coin, because there are actually 3 different items related to the coin in this game, and I think that's really good. Now, a lot of people didn't like the coin in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, especially the coin item. This is a whole other thing where it like stops you from defending against red shells, and like, you know, that can make for more exciting gameplay, but the person who uses it doesn't have a lot of fun. Now you can get up to 20 coins, and there are 3 items revolving around the coin. And we know for sure that having more coins makes you go faster, but we don't know to what extent. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it made you go about 6.5% faster to have 10 coins. Now that you can go up to 20 coins, I really hope it's not making you like 12% faster. I really hope that the difference is made smaller, because I'm not going to explain it here, but there were definitely problems in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because of how powerful coins were. 6.5% may not sound like a lot, but visually, it is a lot, and it makes a huge, huge difference. So there is a coin shell item. As you can see here, Sliver has the coin shell item. I've been calling it a golden shell because I didn't know what it was, but yeah, it just unleashes a whole bunch of coins onto the track. Like all these coins you're seeing down the middle, I guess a lot of other racers took them already because unfortunately Mario got hit as soon as he used it. So you don't personally always get to benefit from this item. It just leaves a whole bunch of coins on the track as it moves down the track. And I'm pretty sure it hits players on the track too. And we've also seen the coin block item, and it seems like this one gives you 8 coins, but also drops a whole bunch of coins behind you. And I really appreciate these coin items, because getting coins on the track is going to be very difficult with 24 players. Now, the Bullet Bill has received major nerfs. As we've seen earlier, it doesn't make someone spin out when you hit them anymore. Like right here, we can see we went straight through this cow player, and then later we look back, and the cow player is right there. So yeah, it doesn't make you spin out anymore, but let's look at how many spots it tried to get for Shy Guy here. So we get hit here, and then immediately activate the bullet. Now, when we activate the bullet, we were either in 8th or 9th. If you go back a bit, we're in one of those 2 spots, but we can see clearly where it tried to drop us off, because the Bullet Bill actually can go longer than that, but it dropped us off in, not 3rd actually, it dropped us off in 4th. So in 4th place, it immediately decided I'm going to stop going. And in case you didn't know, the Bullet Bill has rules for when it drops you off. And that's why there's stuff like bullet extensions and why a bullet in 1st doesn't last so long. And that's because typically the rules for Bullet Bills in previous games has been that they try to move you up 5 spots unless they take you to 1st. Then they'll also try to stop. So here, if we assume that he used his Bullet Bill in 9th, which we're not 100% sure of, you see it switched really quick, but if we assume he used his Bullet Bill in 9th, then it makes a lot of sense why his Bullet Bill dropped him in 4th. And this seems right in line with previous games. However, it is not, because do you see how 5 spots were made up that quickly? Keep in mind, there are twice as many racers, and a lot of people are not going to just be spread way far apart. And so what this means is that you're going to just not go as far typically with the Bullet Bill. You have potential to go just as far, but you often won't be just because there's so many more players. And also, just take a look at the speed of this Bullet Bill. Like, he's at 15 coins. It's not going that much faster than other racers. So that Bullet Bill really didn't help that much at all, besides making him invincible. Now, the Boo item also does something interesting that it didn't do before, and so, you know, it makes you invincible, but now, look at the triple green shells that he just got. This doesn't have a hitbox anymore, like when they are spinning around you. See, you can see that when he throws them, they become real green shells, not ghostly green shells. So, like right here, it's transparent, but then he throws it and then it's a regular green shell. So no longer can you trail somebody with your booze items. The shock or lightning is typically considered the most powerful item in Mario Kart, and it has a huge effect on races. But watch this. Did that have a huge effect on the race? Like, take a look again. This shock hit. Okay, he's lucky that he's on a boost panel, right? But this shock hit and completely stopped him. That's not something that it used to do, right? So the shock got buffed in that way. But typically, the higher up spots are supposed to stay small for longer, and that's part of the comeback mechanic of the shock. But look at this. Instant growth! What? That was less than 1 second in second place. That is crazy. That shock almost did nothing. Like, because he was on a boost panel, honestly, that shock did less than just getting hit by a regular item. Like, he's in first and he's just chilling right now. Now, this right here is a hilarious moment. Blink and you'll miss what happens. Did you see the crazy thing that just happened? Why is it raining now? That's because there was a shock. Did you see it though? Take a look again. We're gonna slow it down for you actually. Yeah, right here, the screen went dark, which means the shock was just used. And nobody got hit by it. And the reason is because look at who just used the shock. It was, I don't know who that is. Is that a Peach in first? That's the shock. Someone smuggled a shock to first place. The most hype thing I've ever done in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Someone randomly does it at this demo and gets nothing out of it because the shock only hits players in front of you. I mean, I guess the road is slippery now, but that's affecting literally everybody, right? So no one got shocked at all. That's crazy. Now, when I say that's crazy, I'm not saying this is like a good or a bad change. Honestly, this might make things more balanced. Like the shock, if you're in 11th place and 12th pulls it and shocks you right after the item boxes, like that's never going to happen anymore. So this actually could be a really good change for balance. It's just very jarring because obviously I'm not used to this and the shock is supposed to be the most powerful item, but now it's totally different. I'm so curious how this is going to affect gameplay in general, especially competitive play, because a lot of competitive play is based around how well you manage the shock, and maybe that's just not a big deal anymore. We're not going to go over every single item in detail, obviously, so let's just go through a few rapid fire for the new items. The hammer, it looks like you get 4 throws and you just toss it in front of you. It has a gigantic hitbox, but it looks like, as far as I've seen, that you have to throw it forward. If you could throw it backwards, maybe it would be an even better item, but if you can throw it forward, like as long as people in front of you are frequently checking their rear view, then they can see it coming. So I'm curious in competitive if the hammer is just gonna be like a really bad item. But for casual players, this looks way overpowered. Now for the boomerang item. This is a returning item, but it has some changes. Now look, when he threw it away, the boomerang started a little cooldown, like countdown, I guess, and the boomerang didn't leave the item slot. So it used to leave the item slot and come back in your second slot if you already have an item, or come back to the first slot if you don't have an item. And as you can see, when it comes back, the little timer starts to go down, and it goes down when you use it, and it also goes down when you just wait. I haven't seen too much of the ice flower. I wonder if it just doesn't show up that much, but from what I could see, it looks like it kind of slows you down a little bit and makes things really slippery, but I mean, I haven't played the game, so there's no way if I can know this for sure, but it looks like you may still have slight control over your vehicle while you are frozen. The feather is also an item I didn't get to see too much good use out of. So when you use it, you jump, and you can use it to take shortcuts. I'm not sure if you can use it to dodge red shells. I'm sure you can, like, dodge bananas with it, but I'm curious if you can dodge a blue shell with it, because someone tried, and it didn't work. So maybe there's a tight timing for it. I will be so excited if this thing can dodge blue shells, because at the moment, I don't feel like it's powerful enough, or maybe I'm just not creative enough with it yet, and maybe it'll actually be a very good item. Now, the Mega Mushroom has returned from Mario Kart Wii, and take a look at this. boom, squish. That was a jump scare how fast that Shy Guy was going. So Mega Mushrooms now make you go a lot faster than in Mario Kart Wii, and you only stay small for like 2 seconds after being squished. So it's definitely much better than the Mario Kart Wii version of this item. And we're actually going to see very soon that Sliver gets its own Mega Mushroom. Let's go forward a bit. Here's the Mega Mushroom, and look at this. You get a speed boost the whole time. Obviously, you can go through off-road just like you could in Mario Kart Wii. This is really cool. And he's charging up ground tricks as he was doing that. I wonder if that's faster because he's already in a Mega Mushroom speed boost. But yeah, I'm just glad the Mega Mushroom is back because there's way more players to squish, and it makes you go faster, so it's easier to chase people down, and people don't stay small for as long. This is way better. All three of these changes are exactly what I wanted, because I didn't like the Mega Mushroom item too much from Mario Kart Wii. Now, we haven't seen if the Mega Mushroom can shock dodge for you, but I'm just going to assume that it probably can, and it'll turn you back into normal size if you get hit by the shock. Okay, now for the Kamek item. This is a very interesting one because as far as I've seen, sometimes it does something really important, and sometimes it kind of like doesn't do anything at all. So basically, Kamek flies out there and just does something to the track. And I'm not sure if it's like track dependent or if it's random, but it seems like different things happen every time. And so one that we've seen is Kamek spawns a bunch of Cheep Cheeps in the water, which is like completely useless because you just go around the Cheep Cheeps, and even the person who used the Kamek still has to dodge the Cheep Cheeps. So like, what is this doing? But then I saw another one where Kamek actually had a huge impact on the race, and first place was just getting comboed because these things are nearly undodgeable. Like, that is crazy. The Kamek has completely different power levels just depending on what happens. And we've also seen Kamek change everyone into different characters. I don't know what that does. We know that characters are going to have different stats. Do your stats change? Do you unlock these characters? Like, do you lose control over your cart? At this point, we don't know for sure what this item is doing exactly, but this is going to be a very exciting one to keep your eye on. Now, the food items are also very different from what we've seen because this can also change your character costume. And again, I don't know what that does other than maybe unlocking them, and it does seem like you need to have an item slot available in order to get this item, and then you use the food item just like any other item. Now, we've also seen sometimes where it doesn't change your costume, and honestly, I don't know why. That's all I have to say about that. Like, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And I figured since I showed you the items on the wiki, I might as well show you the characters as well. These are all the currently confirmed characters. I'm not going to read off all of them. Yeah, a lot of them we've seen in the trailer, a lot of them we've seen from the demos, and there could be a lot more characters than this. Maybe we haven't seen them yet just by chance, or maybe they're going to add more, or maybe they're keeping some secrets so that we can unlock them in the game and feel even more excited about that. Conctor, I did not see Conctor. This is the only one that I didn't already know was in here before just now. All right, let's talk about the settings in this game. So when you are selecting your character and you're ready to go play, you can actually open a settings menu. And let's take a quick look here. You can turn smart steering on and off. There's auto accelerate and tilt controls. Motion glider, maybe? So these are the same as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but then there is auto use item. I'm really curious what this does because auto use item is off, but when we go watch them play, they still auto trail their items. So I don't think this is for trailing. This is probably just like for actually using the item. And this could definitely be good for beginner players because as you're trying to figure out the track, it's hard to remember to press L sometimes. And then there's vertical camera and horizontal camera. No clue what this does. I don't think this has been in any previous Mario Kart game. So I'm curious what this does, but we so far have not seen anyone really touch these. And now for the vehicle customization. I know this is going to make me angry. I'm already kind of angry. And here's what I mean. So we see 4 stats, right? Speed, acceleration, weight, and handling. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, there was also traction. But let's be real, the traction stat was not very important. And I don't even think it necessarily had to be a stat. So I'm fine with traction being removed. However, knowing Nintendo, there is going to be hidden stats besides these 4. And the hidden stats may actually be important. So what am I talking about here? In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, there were a ton of hidden stats. There was invincibility. There were different speed and handling stats depending on the surface you're playing on. And there is a mini turbo stat that is hidden that should not be hidden because it is the #1 most important stat in this game. Nintendo has even had official patch notes where they have talked about the mini turbo stat, and they won't show it to us. Like, we only know this because we're doing stuff that we're not supposed to do with the game. Like, I just don't understand this at all. So anyway, in the new game, it doesn't say there's a mini turbo stat. Does that mean there's no mini turbo stat? Not sure about that. So, like the absolute gamer that I am who never touches grass, I went and did something to try and find out if there is a mini turbo stat. So I took a look at the orange mini turbos, because one of the things that the mini turbo stat does is it changes how long your mini turbos last. So the higher mini turbo stat you have, the longer your mini turbos last, and therefore you go faster. Now, what I have found, I guess, is not completely conclusive of anything. Remember, nothing in this video is completely conclusive because this is a demo of the game and things can totally change in the future, but let me just share with you what I have found. This Shy Guy combo's orange mini turbo lasts for 121 frames. And in case you don't know what that means, it's 60 frames per second, so this is just over 2 seconds. This Mario combo has an orange mini turbo that lasts for 108 frames. This Rosalina combo has an orange mini turbo that lasts for 118 frames. Now, as I was frame counting, the most number of frames that ever get skipped at once is 1. So any of these numbers will at most be off by 1, which means we are clearly seeing 3 different combos have mini turbos that last for 3 different amounts of time. And by the way, this is not concerning to me. I don't hate this. The mini turbo stat is healthy for the game, because if there's no mini turbo stat or the mini turbo stat doesn't matter, then speed is always the best stat by far. And we don't like that. We want some sort of balance where lower speed combos can potentially have more mini turbo. So I'm actually excited if there is a mini turbo stat. I want there to be a mini turbo stat. I think it's healthier for the game. I think it's more fun for the game. It gives different playstyles, but they should show us the stat. Right? This isn't controversial. They should show it to us. Anyone who plays any bit of Mario Kart has done a drift and knows what a mini turbo is. Nintendo, this is not too advanced for our little brains. Maybe the invincibility stat or the traction stat. Like, no one ever really understood what the traction stat does, right? Like, a lot of casual players just never kind of figured it out. A lot of people thought it was an off-road stat, so I get removing the traction stat. I think that's a good change. But I think adding mini turbo stat, like if it really is going to be a real stat in the end, can you please just show it to us? Because I know it's going to be important. Also, the mini turbo stat in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did affect a few other things. It affected like how fast your mini turbos charge, but unfortunately that's a little too tough to tell in this game. It also affects how fast your mini turbo is. Again, that's too hard to tell. But another thing it did is it affects how long your trick boost lasts. Because trick boost were, I guess, coded very similar to mini turbos. So I was curious about trick boost in this game. And what I found is very, very interesting. So first of all, before we even get to the trick boost duration, I just want to point out that you can do a double trick in this game. So I guess as long as there's enough time when you go off a ramp, then you can trick twice. However, does this do anything? I'm not sure at this point, because I looked at a whole bunch of trick boosts and all of them lasted for either 88 or 89 frames. And remember, my margin of error is 1. So as far as I can tell, every trick boost on different combos with different amounts of tricks has always lasted for the exact same amount of time. Now, maybe a double trick gives you a faster trick boost, but that's not something I can tell at this point. So double tricks have to be doing something, right? Like, they can't just be doing nothing other than just looking fun. So I'm curious, what do they actually do? Also, I kind of feel like there has to be hidden stats, and just for one reason. If Rosalina drives on skis, I imagine this is better on snowy and icy tracks, right? Like, otherwise, why does this exist? And that makes me think there is some sort of traction stats in this game, and they're just not showing it to us, which is fine, I guess, as long as they show us the mini turbo stat. Like, just show us the mini turbo stat, Nintendo. Mario Kart fans now have 2 requests from Nintendo. Drop the price and show us the mini turbo stat. Now let's talk about the water physics. So I did mention earlier that it looks like when you enter the water, you can trick on the bounce that you get from landing in the water. And as Sliver was doing the ground tricks, he was also getting extra bounces that he could trick off of. And this is really, really cool. For the most part, water physics were relatively underwhelming and people didn't really like them in previous games, and I'm really glad that the water looks like it's more interactive, but also a lot more similar to regular driving. But the water physics also confuse me sometimes. Take a look at this clip. No trick came out there. So he's shaking his controller, so you know he's going for the trick, and if he can trick, he would. But then he gets the little bounce in the water, and he got a hop out of it. I don't know if he pressed the hop button, but yeah, no trick came out there, which is very interesting. And then here, it looks like he wasn't shaking his controller, so he was just unable to trick. And then here he got the tricks out of the ground trick. So I guess sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But what happens here is really, really cool, and I'm excited to see more of these interactions. So just take a look here. So unfortunately, Shy Guy was in the middle of being hit right here, but it looks like from the bomb, which by the way makes a big boom text, the bomb made a shockwave in the water, and the Koopa Troopa didn't trick off of it either, but you have to be able to trick off of this, right? Or why is this even happening? That is so cool. I wondered what other items can interact with the water like that. But yeah, there's just a lot more interaction with the environment in general in this game. For example, right here, another player runs into a lamppost and just knocks it over. And Shy Guy actually interacted with that. Now, I'm not sure if this can completely stop you or slow you down, but as you can see, it's interactable once it lands on the ground. So I haven't seen a clip of this really doing anything, but it's there. Speaking of interacting with the environment, there are rails and walls, which we've seen a lot of in the trailers. That's definitely a new mechanic that they want us to use a lot of. And unfortunately, we have not seen that much about what you can do with this. Now here's a very interesting clip with a rail. So there's just one rail on the side, he does a ground trick to get onto it, and then just keeps tricking. And I'm so curious how fast that is, because that looks way too broken, but maybe those trick boosts aren't that strong. And typically what we've seen with rails is that you grind on them to charge up a mini turbo, and then ultimately you can release that. You can even go onto other rails. So yeah, we're still yet to see the extent of what you can do with this, but it looks like for now that this is definitely a viable option to go fast. I'm just not sure if this is going to be the fastest option you have on the track. It probably depends on the track. I would definitely not want this to be too broken to the point where you always take a rail whenever you can. But I can imagine rails may be unsafe, as we have seen red shells take rails. And so maybe that's you can hit other people if they're on rails more easily. And if rails are actually faster, then this would be a very good way to balance them. Now, as for going on the wall, it seems like you can't do this that much, or we're just not finding the places where you can do this, because on one hand, it looks like there are sections that are made specifically for wall jumps, but on the other hand, it looks like you can kind of go on the wall anytime you want. And I don't know if there's a big benefit to this, but that's going to be a very interesting thing to explore. And that's one thing that I really am excited about for this game so far, is that especially since it's called Mario Kart World, which is super fitting, there is just so much stuff to explore and do here. Just even on one track, you can try to figure out different strategies for what you want to do. And it looks like there are several viable alternate paths on many, many different tracks. Now let's talk about off-road mechanics. So we actually have seen in the official promotional footage just one moment where Mario drifted into the off-road and did not lose his drift. Now, this could be exciting. Maybe we can drift in the off-road and take some creative shortcuts even without mushrooms. But maybe he just didn't stay in the off-road long enough, so he didn't lose enough speed. After all, this is something you can do in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But something that really confused me about the off-road in this game is this shortcut that Sliver tried to take. So he expects a shortcut on this turn, but didn't really find it. And then what happened? Why didn't he lose much speed? So he just crashes into a wall here because the shortcut's not that big. But then after the mushroom, just keeps tricking. What is he tricking on? He's just shaking his controller like a madman and not even losing too much speed. It doesn't look like he was going at full speed, but the trick boosts were definitely helping him get through the grass just a little bit faster. So I have no clue what's going on there, and if that's a common thing in off-road shortcuts, then that will be really cool, because As you guys know, I love taking shortcuts. They're just so fun every time. Oh, and this is a moment that I just love. So Sliver is just here snaking up a storm. Look at her. Look at her give him the eyes. Okay, but then here, watch this. Gets shocked. No one is more shocked than her. This is why we call the item the shock. She is bewildered. She has never seen this item in her life. She's telling her friends about it. And then later on into the race, Cow takes first place. There's a blue shell on the minimap. He didn't notice. By the way, that's a thing in this game. And no one's more upset than the Nintendo employee. This is why this game is $80. We're paying for this amazing customer service. Okay, since when was this a reaction channel? So obviously, I do find this kind of funny. I don't mean to make fun of the Nintendo employee too much. Clearly, she's just having a good time, and that is so important. I realize from watching this and watching people's reactions that this new Mario Kart game still has all of the core elements of Mario Kart, and so even though people have had their complaints about this game, I do feel like I've now seen enough to think that there could possibly be a lot of fun advanced techniques for the pro players to use, and of course for casual players and new players and people who don't intend to play this game too much. This game looks fantastic, and there are easier and more exciting modes than before, and all of the core Mario Kart fun gameplay is all in here. Playing online is going to be really interesting because of the netcode. This is something that we never want to actively think about as gamers because we hope that the company that made the game just has it all sorted out and we're going to have a seamless experience. But this is not a seamless experience because in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, we have something called lag trails. The connection itself is not even always great, but even if we ignore that, the fact that lag trails exist, which means someone else can hit you from their own screen, even if you didn't get hit on your own screen, is infuriating. I've talked to lots of people who have quit the game and hate online just because of this. People who love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to really grind online and then just quit because this little nuance of the netcode just is so infuriating. And in my last video, I did show this online moment, very, very concerning, where you can see that Coin Coffer runs into a green shell on his own screen, right? That's fine. But then, after getting hit, Baby Daisy doesn't lose the green shell. And then Baby Daisy throws the green shell away and hits another player. What is that? This better be patched, but I talked about this already, right? I have something else to show you. All right, take a look at this clip. Did you see that? I'll show it to you again. Did you see that? Yeah. So what happened here is Mario's revolving red shell hit the Donkey Kong spun out, and the Donkey Kong kept going. Your reaction to this is going to tell me a lot about you. So before I tell you how I feel about this, let me just tell you what would have happened in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if somebody else runs into your trail item on your screen, they get hit. So if this was lag and the Donkey Kong was actually like over here or way over there or nowhere even close, then it doesn't matter. On the Donkey Kong screen, you know, wherever this Donkey Kong is over there in the other room or across the world, the Donkey Kong would have gotten hit. Maybe it would look like on the screen they got hit by nothing. But in this game, the Donkey Kong spins out on our screen, but it's just lag. Instead, the Donkey Kong has never been hit. This is a good thing. You may look at this and say, oh wow, look at the lag. The Donkey Kong never got hit and I lost my red shell. No. This is a good thing. Because sure, it sucks that we lost our protection because somebody else lagged into us. But at least when the lag happens, you don't get a situation where the Donkey Kong got hit by nothing on their screen, and you still lost your protection because they were just lagged into you. They never tried to run into you, but now you don't have protection and the Donkey Kong got hit. At least now you don't have protection, but the Donkey Kong didn't get hit because the Donkey Kong in reality never got hit on his own screen. Don't even comment about this because I'm not going to argue with anybody about this. Like, anyone who's played enough Mario Kart 8 Deluxe online and has been infuriated by lag trails already knows that this is good. It looks bad. Yes, it's better if there's no lag at all, but this is a good change. Now, is this ideal? No. What I would like instead if you're listening right now, please, what I would like to happen instead in this scenario is I think that Donkey Kong should phase through your red shell. This hit should not even register unless the hit actually occurred on the Donkey Kong screen. Now, if the hit actually occurred, then everything is fine, but if the hit did not occur, then we should keep our red shell. I think that's better. Just don't even have them have a hitbox on your own screen, because otherwise you lose the item and the other person didn't even get hit. However, even then, I can understand the reasoning behind this design, if they intentionally designed it this way and thought it was a good idea, because now if you hit the Donkey Kong, you actually feel like you got a hit. Now, maybe the Donkey Kong lags, but like the same thing happens with snipes already, and we're fine with it. Like if you snipe somebody with a green shell, sometimes they just keep going, and that's fine because you want to give them a chance to dodge it on their own screen. Anyway, I'm not going to go too deep into this. Basically, this is a good change. I'm not sure if it's my favorite outcome, but it is definitely better than lag trails. That is what I will say for sure, 100%, and I'm not wrong about that. If you think I'm wrong, then please go argue with somebody else in the comments about that. Anyway, that was my biggest request. This is the number one thing I wanted changed about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and the fact that it's looking better in Mario Kart World is giving me a lot of hope for this game. No matter how the game feels to play, at least online will not be as infuriating, and that is a huge win, because pretty much one of the biggest flaws in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's not even the connection problem, it's literally just this one line of code in the netcode, and I'm glad it's better than before. And finally, let's talk about the different game modes. So we have Grand Prix mode, Knockout Tour, and Free Roam. Those are the three that they're really showing to us. I imagine there's going to be versus mode and time trials, but I also imagine they're going to be pretty much the same thing as in previous games, so that's why they're not really showing us too much about those. Now, for Free Roam mode, we have seen a little bit about it. You can kind of just go anywhere, but like, what do you do besides explore? Like, are there going to be missions? Can you meet anyone? Can you like unlock stuff? Now, we have seen in the overview map that there is going to be a P block, coin blocks, and coins. I guess you can collect these things or maybe find these things, and then they're gonna unlock something. So far we don't know too much about that. I guess we're gonna find out later in the April 17th Nintendo Direct. But then of course you can take photos in this mode, and you can also meet with your friends in this mode to take photos together. That's gonna be really cool, especially because there's this like free roaming camera that you can use, and this is gonna be great, by the way, for when I make thumbnails. I have so much trouble using Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's replay mode to make thumbnails. Like, if you ever see something like this, just know that a lot of work and experimentation went into getting just the right camera angle. But also this photo mode's really cool because it looks like there's going to be buttons you can press in order to do different poses. And it looks like now you can get achievements. And this is probably not only restricted to free roam mode, because it looks like a similar message shows up when you unlock a new character when you eat the food item, and like, I guess if you randomly got one of the characters that you haven't gotten yet. Now, when you're waiting in online lobbies before you play on a track, you actually are pretty much in free roam mode, just with everybody else. Now, this was a pretty cool clip on Twitter. You can go to an online lobby, and when you're in an online lobby, we already know this, it is free roam mode and you can see everybody else, but then you can just drive off the track and Lakitu won't pick you up because you're in free roam mode, so you can just fall onto another track. That's crazy. And of course, there is also Grand Prix mode and Knockout Tour. I'm not going to talk about those here because I've already given a lot of my thoughts and kind of like a rundown of how those modes work in my other video about, does this game even look fun? Do we like Straight Line Simulator? Yeah, so if you want to go take a look there, the comment section is buzzing, by the way, so yeah, go check that out.